Michael.
All right, Attorney Douglas, thanks for coming on today. I remember watching the trial live on CNN. This is even before MSNBC existed, so I watched it basically every day. The question I had for you is I was watching some analysis from Attorney Roland Martin on CNN, and she was talking about Mark Fuhrman and Mark Fuhrman allegations of him using the N-word and him perjuring himself on the witness stand during that trial. And I think a lot of people may have forgotten about that, may not even know who Mark Fuhrman is. Can you talk about that for a minute? And just a quick follow-up question, if I may. I just wanted to know, what do you think was the biggest piece of evidence or lack of piece of evidence that got O.J. Simpson the acquittal?
Well, Mark Fuhrman was a central detective who found a glove at the Rockingham location. He had years before petitioned the city of Los Angeles to allow him to retire with benefits because he harbored such virulent, racist, violent attitudes against black and brown prisoners and suspects that he thought he was a danger to himself and to others. He hated them so much that they would beat him, and he relished that kind of violence. So in Los Angeles, there is such distrust at that moment between the police and the African-American community. You could probably stop anyone on the streets of Los Angeles who was black at random, and they could tell you a story of themselves, their friend, or their family member being treated unfairly by the LAPD. That distrust is something that we as the defense fed into. And when you had a central detective who took the Fifth Amendment in a murder case, that was clearly a bright line. But the seminal piece of evidence, I say, that really turned the tide was that glove demonstration that we all remember when the murder glove didn't fit on the hand of the accused murderer. That was a visual sign that seared into the memory of the jurors, irrespective that there were 30 days of mind-numbing DNA evidence, irrespective that there were 3 weeks spent on the domestic relationships and the problems that they had in their past marriage. When there was a dramatic, in-your-face, feet-away demonstration and the murder glove did not fit the hand of the murderer, that, I think, was the moment when we all thought that a conviction was going to be impossible and that a not guilty verdict would prevail.
All right, Michael, get a follow-up. Come on.
See, Roland, that's how smooth I am. I asked two of them together.
All right,
fine.
Well, just making sure. Matt, go ahead.
Okay, I have to ask this. I'm sure everybody wants to know. So you talked about the glove demonstration. Was there a point before then when Johnnie Cochran came up with the line and y'all were like, that's going to slay in closing argument? Or was that something off the cuff? Number one, I have to ask. And number two, please tell us what it was like working. I mean, you are one of the legends, but what was it like working with Brother Cochran? Because he's obviously, most of our hero as lawyers, one of our heroes. And I'd love to know what that experience was like, beyond formative, of course.
Surely. The weekend after that glove demonstration, we would gather every Saturday in our conference room. There'd be 12 lawyers, investigators, staff sitting there working together. And there was a speakerphone named Jerry Ullman, who was then the dean of Santa Clara's Law School, was on the phone. And Jerry Ullman said, hey guys, I got a saying for us. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And we all first paused for a moment, thought about it, and the entire room erupted. Hey, yeah, that's the thing. Hey. It was a moment that I will always remember, and Jerry Ullman was the one that thought of that phrase. Your second question, I was with Johnnie Cochran for 12 and a half years. I always enjoyed being the man who whispered into the ear of the man. That was, to me, the seat of power. And I would always tell the lawyers, I don't care what you think, trust his instincts. because the brother had instincts that were gleaned over doing trials, 3, 4, 5 trials a week as a city attorney for many years.
Yep.
He had instincts because he knew how things would play. He knew how people would be able to react to things. And as important, he had a remarkable ability, brother. I can't do it. He could be kicking your tail during trial and at a break saunter over to the other side and ask you about your family. How's the wife doing? How's the kid doing? He had that remarkable ability to compartmentalize, and prosecutors, defense lawyers alike loved him some Johnnie Cochran. He had that smooth way that was able to impress everyone he was around.
All right, then. Carl Douglas, last question. When you look at all of this coverage and when you look at these conflicted feelings, just your assessment of how there's these multiple versions of who O.J. Simpson was and how he is going to be remembered for the rest of eternity.
It's going to be complicated, regrettably, Roland. Hopefully, there will be some remembrance and recognition of how great an athlete he was in the first half of his life. But regrettably, particularly with the advent of social media, he will be most remembered for someone that America thinks got away with murder. That, I think, unfortunately, will be the lasting memory of my former client, O.J. Simpson.
Carl Douglas, always a pleasure, man. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Brother, have me back again, please. Always. Enjoy being with you.
We'll have you back on. Thanks a lot.